Good evening. Welcome to Combe TV, episode 94. Although I did realise I'd put episode 93 in the description till earlier today, so apologies about that. But welcome along, everyone. Good to see Tim Perry, one of the mighty Orange Army. He's straight in. Hello, everyone. Dilly dilly. If you insist, mate. Dilly dilly indeed. Welcome. It's a fairly busy show. We're going to try and get it all succinct and to the point this one, because I've got two guests and a single guest. That's basically how we're doing it. Plus we're previewing this weekend's, which is the Summer Action Day as well, which just reminded me I haven't put that one up on the details. But we're going to have a look at that in between our two sets of guests. We're going to have a look at the next race day, which is not Castle Combe Racing Club. It's Classic Sports Car Club are being welcomed to Castle Combe. I'm still in a box, which I'm really excited about, because they've always got packed grids and they're great entertainment for everybody. And we will be talking to the CEO of the company that set up the British Motor Show, Andy Entwistle, and Kat will be joining us for that one as well, because the Castle Combe Racing Club are actually going to be at the event, including going into the Bridgestone Motorsport arena that I'm hosting for the second year, which I'm really excited about. So that's what we're going to have a look at. I know I did tell Kat and David that I'm going to do them first, but guys, I'm changing it around. I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to do it the other way round. I'm going to grab Andy and Kat on to come first. Then it'll be me and David. We'll talk about everything Classic Sports Car Club, especially as he's now... It's not a promotion, is it, David? I can see you at the bottom there. It's not, but to me it is, man. You got, you're royalty now to me, brother. So we'll chat about everything Classic Sports Car Club. We'll chat about the weekend, all of that kind of thing. But it's great to see that you're all piling in. Caroline Sutton, hi Caroline, good to hear from you. I hope you're well. I hope you enjoyed the last race meeting. Peter Collins says hi all. Don't forget, get your questions, get your comments in to anybody that you want to ask the questions to. But more importantly, I tell you what, I think it's about time that we brought out our first guest because Kat's going to join me on this one so that we can talk everything about the British Motor Show and Castle Combe being there. First of all, evening, Kat. Ladies first, of course.
Evening, everybody.
You well?
Hi, Chris. Hi, Andy. I'm well, thank you. Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Well, you know, you've been busy with this one, but a big, which way? I can never work it out that way. Evening to Andy Entwistle. You all right, buddy?
I'm all right, Chris. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. We need to get it out in the open. You and I actually know each other socially as well, don't we?
We do. We go back a few years, don't we, mate?
We do indeed. We sadly thrown together by losing a very dear friend to the Big C,
absolutely.
which was a huge shame. So we still remember Nick Bull
Absolutely.
forever and ever. But you are the CEO of Automotion?
Yeah, the company's called Automotion Events, but we're a British motor show.
Yes, exactly. How long has that been going, Andy?
So I acquired the rights to the show in 2019. Obviously the original show's been going, back to the early, 1905. And then it stopped in 2008. Last one was in London in Excel in the old format, which was kind of halls of new cars. And I just kind of felt that we needed something. We didn't have a national motor show. I didn't feel that we had a national event that engaged with youngsters. I'm a huge petrol head. You know that. I love motorsport. I love my cars. And I kind of felt I got that as a kid going to motor shows. And I thought, you know what, we need to do something here because there's nothing that's bringing the next generation through. There's nothing that's introducing them to grassroots motorsport. All they see is Lewis Hamilton. So I bought the rights. And then that pesky bug came along. So it kind of put us all on the back foot. But we just about kept the lights on. So the first show of the new format, and it is really different, was 2021. So this will be year 5.
Wow, okay. So that makes... And so have you always done it at Farnborough?
Yeah. So my history, as you know, was I've been in automotive and events for a long time. I had a relationship with Farnborough anyway. And they helped make it happen, really. I think without them, it would have been a much tougher gig. So it is the home of the show for the foreseeable future. Not a million miles away from Castle Combe at all. Just kind of down the M4. And it's a great venue because unlike the old places, and Chris, you were with us last year. It's unlike the old show, which was just indoor halls full of static cars, and don't get me wrong, as a petrol, it was great fun, but those shows, there's nothing dynamic. And what Farnborough gives us is we've still got the halls full of cars. You can still see new cars and all of that, but we've got kind of 12 acres of outdoor space. So that gives us 2 live arenas and test drives and kids stuff, and it's so we get the best of all the worlds.
It is. Sorry, I've just been told to turn my microphone up, so I've turned it up. So apologies if I've suddenly deafened everyone. Thanks, Keith, for that one. Just to prove it, he did tell me, turn my mic up. I'm just going to quickly, I'll tell you what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this to the stage. I'm going to put this full screen for a second. Let's just play this, your official video from last year, Andy. Yeah. So we're going to have a quick listen and watch to this. So there we go. That was a bit of an insight. Let me just, what am I doing? I've got to try and remove that from the stage. There we go. Let's put, where have we gone? There we are. You're back. Yes, it was just to sort of give a bit of a flavour, a bit of a feel for all of that. I am going to quickly share one other thing because it's an image, so that I know is a lot easier to show. Where do I want to look at this? Because this, for me, brings home the enormity of it, Andy. I mean, like you said, it is a big old site, isn't it?
It really is, and that it's interesting watching that video because we had that produced nearly a year ago now, and realizing I'm sitting there going, "Oh, we didn't cover that, and we didn't cover that," and that's our challenge. Is so many shows have got one job to do, but we've got so much, and actually covering it all off is really tough. And when you see that, even that doesn't put it into real context. But yeah, that just shows you the halls. That shows you we got acres of classic cars. You saw them in the video, and on the left hand side there you've got the Bridgestone Hall, that's the one, and the Motorsport Arena, and that whole area is dedicated to promoting motorsport, promoting motorsport clubs, and getting particularly youngsters, but not just youngsters, getting people involved in motorsport. That there is so much more than just F1 and BTCC. That's why we've been talking to Kat, and from we've had Auto Solo with us, and I'm sure a lot of people are aware of those guys. And the idea behind that is, do you know what? This is your entrance into motorsport. This is your gateway where you can take your Nissan Micra, and we have a Nissan Micra that does it every year, and you can come and do Auto Solo, for relatively little cost. And we've also got a real thing about promoting the kids. So we've got couple of really, and you met Oscar last year, who's an up and coming karter, and it's kind of like that next Lewis Hamilton type thing, but not just the boys, equally the girls. And that's the thing, is we're given a platform for the young girls coming through, and there are some really fast young girls coming up through the karting now. And we really want to promote that and show that it's not just for boys, this stuff.
No, exactly right. And it is a pleasure to be able, because obviously I sit in that motorsport arena, and I got to speak to Oscar and several others that were there for one or all of the days. And it's to bring it to life, isn't it? To sort of, it's all very well, Andy, you and I sat here talking about it, and it's like going, yeah, okay, we believe it. But when they actually get to hear from the people that are genuinely doing it, it brings it to life a lot better, and that's what that arena is, not just a static space. It's actually get to see them do it as well.
Yeah, so we've got, and this is where Kat and her amazing teams are going to be. We've got the motorsport paddock, so you can get in there, you can get up close, because the whole point about everything in the show is you can get up close. Whereas certain shows, everything's roped off, you can't get near it, and even if you're a VIP, you can't. That's not what we're about. You get the same experience, kind of pretty much no matter what you pay, and it's not an expensive experience at all. But from the new cars, you get to sit in the seats. You can go and test drive them. For the motorsport paddock, you can actually get right up close. You can actually talk to the drivers, check out the vehicles, check out the karts, and then 10 minutes later, you see them out in the arena, giving it some beans and kind of showing what it can do. It's not a huge arena, so we don't have a track, but it's still, as a taster, to get people interested. It's a really great thing.
It's big enough for them to make some noise and to sort of give us a feel.
Create a bit of smoke.
Yeah, exactly. And we interject between, they'll sort of perform, then we'll have a chat with them, then they'll perform again. And it kind of, then the whole idea, Andy, is that they then go back to where they're positioned, and those conversations
absolutely
can then happen directly, can't they?
Yeah, I mean, the idea for us is, as I said, a family come along, because it is a family show. Whilst obviously we aim it at car fans, because it's a car show, unlike the old shows, and still a lot of the modern shows, and there's some great shows, but they're all aimed at car fans of a certain age. And we want to bring the families in. So we want to bring mum, dad, and the kids along, so that they see something different. They didn't know that they could do this. They didn't know about that. We had Legends last year, if you remember.
Yeah.
And people, because we're in the motorsport, we know what Legends are. But you're going to ask your neighbours next door in the family, they won't know. And then they see it, and they're like, wow, how do we watch this? How do we get involved?
Right.
And so it's creating new fans for the series, but also for these drivers, and we all know how tough motorsport is, particularly if you want to try and take it to the next level. It helps put them on the stage, because we do a stage session as well with Tim, and you saw Tim and Fuzz from Car SOS. They're our stage hosts. So we put them on stage so people can ask them questions. And also it's good for their sponsors. So it helps them generate awareness, helps get their sponsors, which means it's easier for them to renew those relationships. And Oscar's a really good example. And we actually, before Oscar, we had a guy called Ruben Hage, who started in junior BTCC.
Yes.
And he's in Le Mans. He's doing the GT3s. I mean, he's what, 17, 18. And we helped him through. We gave him a platform with us, and he'd bring his car along. And we now see him, moving up. So when he does become F1 world champion, I'm going to call in the favor and get him on stage. But
Absolutely.
Oscar is a good example. He's now 14. We've been working with Oscar since he was 10. And actually, through being at the show, it's improved his confidence, because 10, 14-year-old kids, it's pretty daunting. And now he'll get up in front of the whole crowd. He'll chat really confidently. He's he's very articulate about it. He's very driven, and it's helped him kind of progress his career. And Oscar, I know Oscar's father really well now as well. They're not loaded. They've not got loads of cash like certain F1 drivers we can talk about. But this might be an opportunity where he gets spotted and gets picked up. And the other thing that we've got there, Chris, and this is really cool, and it's going much bigger this year. You might remember we had, and I said it's all grassroots, we have the Alpine F1 team there, and they bring their F1 sims.
Okay.
And they're the proper eSport F1 simulators that they use. And they're bringing 12 of them this year. We've got an F1 eSport kind of area, and they're setting up Silverstone, and they're going to get their current driver lineup to do a couple of laps, and people will be able to come down and see if they can beat their drivers on Silverstone. So we'll be letting everyone know, if you're only good at eSports, and I'm useless at it,
Me too.
get practicing on Silverstone, because this is the way that a lot of these big teams are finding kind of new talent now.
100%. It's because at the end of the day, the F1 drivers are using this same technology in their sims, and that's what is now the sim racing. It is amazing. I got to say, another one that was amazing to come out was Sandro Ballesteros, who of course is not just a youngster that's going well, but he's autism in motorsport, and there's another big message that we're promoting, and he's going great guns at the moment.
He really is.
He's got a chance of winning the championship this year by the looks of it, apparently. So that's really good. Great. And him and his dad, and all of them bring their parents, and it's really good to see. I mean, Kat, if I can just bring in you for a second, is that I know that myself and Justin Holloway had been badgering you. In fact, I just got to put this up because Justin says, "Evening all, looking forward to the show. The Golf Clear will be there representing Castle Combe Racing Club hot hatches. Not so keen sleeping in the trailer on site." We'll go past that one. But Kat, it's a great opportunity for Castle Combe Racing Club to be front and centre as well.
Definitely. We looked at trying to do it last year, but just couldn't quite bring it all together with the right kind of notice. And I think for us, particularly, sorry, I don't know if that's the dog shuffling around by my feet, if you can hear something.
It proves it's live, Kat. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I think funnily enough, it was Justin Holloway that put something in one of the various group chats that we have. Sorry, it's my daughter walking past the window making faces. Sorry, everybody. And this is real. So Justin had said, look, if there's a way that we can somehow get some, good club promotion going at the show, it would be, really worth doing. So we put something out to reach out to any drivers with their cars that would like to come and help. And it kind of worked, really. So we're looking forward to having an opportunity to talk all things Castle Combe Racing Club. We're doing it in conjunction with the Wiltshire College and University Centre. So David Campion's coming along too. And also, I think for us, in line with what Andy's been talking about, is that we have Jake Humphrey, who's coming along with his Clio as well. So you've got Jake, who's 16, just beginning his race journey, and who's come through from karting, from a well-supported family of race drivers. and Justin, who, you know, won't mind me saying, is a more mature
Well, I don't actually,
driver.
having spoken to Justin, mature's not the right word.
Well, that's the impression he's given me, so I'm going to
Sorry,
roll with that
Justin.
one.
We'll say older,
So,
but he's not mature.
no, well, there you go. So I was trying to think of a nice way of putting it. So actually, and then you've got, so they're representing the hot hatches. So they'll be there with their cars, and the university are bringing their Formula Ford that they look after. We've got Nathan Sutton is coming along with the MGZR. So we've got a saloon representation.
Cool.
And again, and we're just working on a GT. I've got a couple of things boiling away in the background. So we're going to have, where you were looking at the map, you've got the Motorsport arena, and he's given us a very nice kind of 12, 14 meter long pitch where we'll be set up with the cars. The drivers are going to be there supporting every day, along with some marshals who are going to come and some drivers who are going to come and help independently as well. So we kind of hope we've covered everything that's all club sport based around Castle Combe Racing Club. So for us, it's we're really grateful that Andy's given us this opportunity. We don't get the chance to go out there and sell our story away from the circuit because everything is based at home. And, you know, one thing I have learned, although I'm not technically minded, I do know that the drivers like to talk about themselves. So I am absolutely desperately waiting for 3 whole days where I have to say nothing. So I can just sit there, make a cup of tea, relax, have a wander around the show. And I know that Justin and Jake and Nathan are all happy to do the interviews and some of the demo driving. If we could get a GT there as well, that would be a full set, which would be great. So no, we're really looking forward to it. And again, just kind of that whole opportunity to show someone like myself who's come into the motorsport business at the mature stage of my career as well, and a woman, and, you know, somebody that's come from a customer service background with a little bit of car knowledge. So I feel like we've really covered all the bases, I hope.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm just conscious that I forgot to say that the British Motor Show is 15th to the 17th of August. And Andy, they can still get tickets to go and attend.
Yep, so tickets are still available. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 15th to 17th. That's the website. There we go, britishmotorshow.live. If you get your tickets before, this is my sales pitch, if you get your tickets before the 31st of July, it is $24.95 for a single ticket for the whole day, and pretty much everything's included, or it is under £50 for a family of 4. So it's fairly reasonable. Our prices go up on the 1st of August. So, you know, it's a well-priced day out.
Yeah, and I do encourage you, go and have a look. The BritishMotorshow.live. It's a busy day. There's a lot to go and see. There's lots of shows. There's lots of static stuff. There's a lot of test drives, Andy. I was seeing stuff about the electric cars as well.
Yeah, so, you know, aside from the motorsport, and you could spend a whole day in the motorsport arena easily, and a lot of people do come for all 3 days now. So, you know, you could do that. And then we are the UK's biggest consumer test drive event. So, you know, whether it's, and obviously a lot of the manufacturers are trying to promote EVs now. So more and more of it's moving that way, or hybrids. But, you know, we've got all the latest stuff from the likes of Ford. We've got Mercedes, we've got BMW, the new Mini, and then you've got the kind of the EV kind of brigade coming on board. We've had Tesla with us, BYD now, and BYD are making huge kind of noise in the industry. And I have to say, they came to us the first time 2 years ago, and I can see why. They're pretty impressive. But we've also got a couple of these new Chinese brands this year. So nice selection of cars to be able to kind of check out in the halls. And if you're really interested, chat to the people. And I think the important thing, the big difference for us is we bring the manufacturers in, but the stands are fronted by dealer groups, so that the people you're talking to, they know about the car. Because there's nothing worse than going to a show and talking to someone who's just a member of show staff who just sits there and goes, go to the website. Well, you might as well do that from home. So the nice thing is you can go there, you can talk to people who actually know about the car, And then if you're kind of interested, you can go and get in it and take it for a drive.
I have to be honest and say I hadn't even heard of BYD until last year's show. That was the first time I saw it, and that was hard to miss because their stand was massive. And I went,
Absolutely.
well, what's that? And I didn't even know what BYD stand for. Was it Build Your Dream?
Build your dreams.
It's intriguing, but it's just an example, and that you get the opportunity to test drive these things. But there is absolute drool fest everywhere, isn't there? Of every era of cars, every manufacturer of cars.
Yeah, this is the thing. I can talk about it forever, but we got the supercar paddock, and this year we've got more supercars than we've ever had. Over the course of the weekend, we're going to have nearly 300 supercars. They change every day, and we've got some really, really rare stuff there, and we've got some of the really old stuff as well. And they are generally owned by the people who bring them, rather than being dealers. So you can actually talk to the owners. We put them in the live arena so that they make a bit of noise. And then at the end of every day, we have a massive supercar parade where they all leave together, and people line up, alongside and watch them. That's really, really cool. So you got that. My favorite thing this year, and it's down in the Bridgestone arena near the Motorsport thing, is the Back to the 80s display.
Ooh.
And now, because I'm a man of a certain age, as you can tell, so the 80s was a particularly good era for me, where we loved the cars, couldn't afford them, obviously, but we've now got so we've got all the iconic stuff from the 80s in one place. We've got Lamborghini Countach, we've got the Magnum Ferrari, we've got kit from Knight Rider, we've obviously got DeLoreans, but then we've also got things like your Lancia Integrale, your original Golf GTI, Renault 5 turbos, and it's just that bit where, if you're a certain age, you'll reminisce, and these are the ones you wanted or you had, and you can bore the kids with. I remember when I had one of those.
I had a poster of one of those on the wall.
Absolutely, yeah. And they are the cars that right now are going through the roof in value. Yeah. So yes, that's going to be a really cool thing. So so you can see we've got all types of cars.
No, it really is a special. I say day, 3 days. Do people come back and do more than one day, Andy?
They do. So although we bill it as a one-day show, so it's kind of the same thing every day with 3 days. So it's not that different. A few different guests, people. Because my idea is I want to create a show where you turn up and you leave and you've not been able to do everything. Because I got tired of going to events. 2 hours later, you're like, I'm done. So with us, but as a result of that, people are like, I need to come back tomorrow. So we do multi-day deals. If you buy 2 days, you get all three. If you do it in advance, and then people, we see a lot of people come back and they'll do the indoor halls kind of, in the morning, and they'll do the motorsport in the afternoon. And then, it's things like, so our live arena, the main arena, you could spend a whole day there.
Yes.
We've got the supercar parade in the morning. We then have British Army parachutists. They jump into the middle of the arena and try and hit the mark. That is, I know it's not cars, but that's really cool. We've then got a stunt show, really, really great stunt show. The team were with us last year. It's all new for this year. You've then got, and this is really cool, and it does have wheels, so it works. We've got the world's strongest man truck pulling championships live at the show. It's that kind of thing that you see on Boxing Day every year when you've had too much to eat. So actually filming one of the rounds at the show, and it's the world champion will be crowned. So that's pretty cool. And then that's followed. So before that is we've got celebrity Strictly Cars dancing.
As you do.
Yeah. So we've got 4 celebrities. We paired them up with 4 stunt drivers. And they've gone away. They've each got a tune, and they've got to come up with a stunt show to that tune. And then, of course, the crowd have to vote. So that's going to be quite cool. That and we've got people like Bobby Pryor from Radio 2, because a lot of people don't know she's a huge car fan, and Mark McCann off of the internet, to name but 2. Grace Webb, she's from TV and kids stuff. So we got some. That's going to be really cool, and it's going to be just probably one step away from chaos, I would imagine.
Can I just say, Andy, is that I love that when you talked about the world's strongest man thing, and you said that, where we've had too much to eat at Christmas, I know you well enough to say that was a struggle to say eat rather than drink there, wasn't it?
They go hand in hand, don't they?
Yeah, well,
Really?
they
So
do.
yeah,
But
absolutely.
we do like a beverage occasionally, don't we?
Well,
When we get a
yes,
chance to
that's
catch up.
that's how we come up with all these ridiculous ideas.
Yeah,
I go into
absolutely.
the office after a night out with you or other people. And I say to the couple of the people, I've had an idea, and they now just
Yeah.
hang their heads.
Yeah, they go, oh my God,
Oh,
not
what
another
is it
one.
now? Yeah.
They're the best normally. They really are.
Look,
Um,
it's
can I
the
just
whole
put
idea.
one of those crazy ideas though? Lego are there this year.
They are. This has been something we've been working on for nearly 4 years to get Lego to the show. Because it's, the largest tire manufacturer in the world, of course, as we all know that fact, don't we? So they are coming along. I think if you're into your motorsport, you'll have seen their involvement with F1 and all that they're doing. So they're really keen to promote that. So they're going to be doing, we're going to do build competitions on the stage where you kind of get up on stage. You have to build one of the little mini models, and you can win Lego sets, which is really cool. You'll be able to buy all the latest stuff and have some playtime at their stand. And we've actually got their full size. They've made a full size Lego McLaren P1. You can kind of see it on the internet. We've got that, but what we've got no one's ever had is it's going to be sat right next to proper P1. It's actually Mark McCann's P1. It's got the two of them next to each other, which is going to be a great photo opportunity.
And I'm gutted because I'm pretty sure that's like the whole other end of the arena of the whole show where I'm working. So I probably won't even get a chance to see that.
We'll put you on a golf cart, don't worry.
Good arrows, thank you, mate. I can't miss that one. I do love it that, and this is one for you as well, Kat, is that Justin Holloway said, "Blimey, insults from all directions. You know we're messing with you, Justin." I love it. Also, someone that I know that did go there because I caught up with him, Tom Davis, used to work at the circuit. Went last year, really enjoyed it. Chris did a good job as always. Thank you, mate. God bless you.
Thanks, Tom. Yeah.
We did have a good laugh. You only saw me briefly at that show. It's that busy, didn't we? You were kind of fleetingly over that side.
Well, it's kind of keeping that thing. It's a bit like herding cats over the 3 days. There's so much going on, and it's we just want it to go smoothly for people, and we're lucky we get great feedback. I think the key thing, it's created by, we're only a small team. There's only 4 of us, but it's created by petrol heads, car fans, for petrol heads and car fans. We're not an event company that does a car show. This is kind of all we do. So what we deliver is it's really important to us. So we're forever running around that show and making sure it all happens correctly. And trying to make sure that people have experiences they don't get anywhere else. I mean, you'll remember a couple of years ago, our good friend's son turned up and we put him in the live arena in a drift car. Do you remember that with Thomas? Did you remember? Oh, you might not remember that. So we had, and I can't give this away because if we happen to do it again, then it will ruin it. But it's the best way to think of a lot of our live arenas. It's kind of like Top Gear. It's that silliness, but we don't go quite as far. But the part of the shows and the stunt shows and some of the things that Paul Swift does in the arena, because Paul manages our arena and he's amazing. We kind of hoodwink the audience a little bit. And I'll give you an example. So this was 3 years ago as part of our supercar parade. And of course, this idea came the night before over perhaps a beer or two at the local Indian. And I've sat there with a guy called David Trigg, who helped us with our supercars, Mr. Brewer, who you'll know off TV because he was our host, and Paul. And we were having a few chats. And we do the supercar parade where we choose the 10 best supercars from the paddock and we bring them in. They do a few laps, they can make a bit of smoke, and then we chat about them and make a bit of noise. And we'd got the brand new Ford GT that year, bright yellow thing.
Yep. And
Ford had given Paul Swift permission to drive into the arena. So we brought a load of cars in, and this idea, like I said, it was over a few beers. Paul, and he does like to do this, he dressed up. Paul loves to dress up, and he dressed up like a little old lady. Now, bearing in mind, you can't see very well into a lot of these supercars, and he sat there on the road, and all these other cars came in, and then the last one came in, and David and Mike were talking, and Mike says to David, "So what's this about?" And David says, "You're not going to believe this. This car, the driver's name is Maud. Maud has been a lifelong Ford fan, and she won the lottery, and she wanted something really fantastic. She went to Ford and said, I want the best car that you've got. And she bought this. Amazing. She's had a whole life driving Fiestas. And then Paul, of course, he starts kangarooing this car in. So it's as if he can't drive it. And I'm sitting there thinking, no one's going to fall for this. But I'm watching this, and there's these people around me. There's this couple next to me, and this bloke turns to us, oh my God, I can't believe she can't drive that. What is she doing? And then he gives it a bit of beans, and he starts to go quick and then stop. And you can just hear people going, she's going to crash. And then, of course, he boots it and he starts drifting this car around the arena and then gets out, and we reveal it's Paul. But people love that. They love to have a bit of fun and be fooled a little bit. So we did that, and we did it. We got Tom involved in that as well.
Yeah, and I know that we got Sam Hard will be there, Ewan Thomas.
Yeah, so we got a whole variety of people. We've got Sam Hard. He's a great guy, very knowledgeable. We've got Ewan, we've got Tim and Fuzz, we've got Paul Cowland with us. We got a whole lot of people. We got Yanni. For a lot of people might know Yanni.
Oh, is he?
He's going to be there on the Friday. So one of the things we've got at the show is the UK Rap Championship finals. So we've got 4 companies, kind of UK. It's a big thing now, wrapping cars. So they're coming together at the show. We're working with Avery Dennison, who provide all of the wrap material, and they're going to be each day. They're going to be wrapping. They're going to each team's going to have a mini, and we're going to give them 3 different themes. And they've got to then wrap this car within a set period of time, and then we will judge it, and we'll be crowning on the Sunday the UK Rap Champion 2025. So Yanni's coming to launch that on the Friday.
Wow, such a character. I've just got to say something very clearly, by the way. I know I keep seeing the messages coming up from Catherine Green, and I will come to your messages soon, Catherine. But you're talking primarily about the Summer Action Day. I haven't come on to that. This is the British Motor Show. Totally different event. This is 15th to 17th of August. And so I will move on to all of the bits and pieces, just in case you're mixing up what we're talking about at the moment. I've got to say as well, Andy, one of the things I love about the British Motor Show that just I never stopped having my mind blown is the location means you're watching these private jets coming in and out as well. I know that's not, part of the show, but how cool is that as a side note to it?
Oh, it's an added benefit for us, that's for sure. It's millions of pounds worth of private jets flying primarily back and forth to the Middle East. Everyone stops as soon as, because they literally come past the live arena, past the motorsport arena, and take off. So no matter what you're doing, and we have to close the airport down when the parachutists land.
Oh, really? I didn't clock that.
Yeah, a bit of a challenge for us. And you can imagine the amount of people that say, any chance has been able to do 1/4 miles on the runway? You can, but you don't want to know how much it's going to cost to close that place down for an hour. So
it's a full airport, isn't it? Full private jets.
Fully operational airport, kind of 24/7, I think.
Yeah, it is some amazing kit there, and it's maintenance for I forget which one it is. One of the top private jet companies, isn't it?
Yeah,
I've got a mental block now.
Learjet.
We'll see it when. I think it is. I think it is Learjet. Yeah. So it's and that just never gets boring over. You've gone from 4 days to 3 this year, Andy.
Yeah. A couple of reasons. Well, being honest, it's kind of helping us reduce costs a bit because it's tough times as you know from Castle Combe. It's tough putting on events like this because the costs. And we felt that Thursday and Friday were quieter days, so we combined the 2 together. But it also has resulted in us getting more content and more people along.
Has it?
Well, the car clubs, because what we didn't want to do was deliver a show on Thursday that was kind of a pale version of the show on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Because we've always said it's the same show every day. And it was very tough to get, particularly the car clubs and the motorsport clubs, to be able to give all 4 days because a lot of people are still working, even though it's summer holidays. And what we discovered by saying, well, actually, we're only going to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. All of a sudden, loads of car clubs and people have come out and said, oh, well, I can do that. That's great. So it's helped us deliver a more content, bizarrely. I know that sounds strange.
Which is really, and in fact, it's another point that I'll make, even for people that maybe have been, I would encourage you to go because I've got to give you and your team credit. Is you listen, you look, you learn, and it is still evolving as a show, isn't it?
It is. I mean, and Cat and the racing club is a good example. is, we know what we're trying to do, but what we didn't want was to bring the legends back and bring the same things that we had last year. So the conversation with Kat for the racing club is brilliant, because we're now bringing some series and some vehicles that haven't been seen before. So people who come to the show every year will be like, well, I've never seen that before, but the ethos is still the same. And then, we've got a drift team that are going to, actually, they're professional. So obviously drifting, as you know, is one of the fastest growing motorsports in the UK, but it's still got that Tesco's car park connotation. So what we've done this year, we've got 3 professional drifters coming with us, and they're going to be doing demo runs. They're going to be talking about how professional drifting works, how people score, and doing some pretty cool stuff in there.
Yeah.
So again, it's just that little bit of, like, how can we promote something different every year? And we'll get this one out the way, and literally on the 1st of September, I'll be talking to Kat and saying, right, well, they were really great. What do we do differently next year? We bring you along, but we just keep mixing it up.
Yeah, it is a learn as we walk, and it makes sense. Okay. By the way, I'm also conscious that David Smitheram's down in the green room from Classic Sports Car Club, and I told him last year that he should be at your show. So I hope you're listening, David. Is that we'll get Classic Sports Car Club there to promote as well next year.
Absolutely, yeah.
Andy, I'll come to you first. Is there anything else that you would like people to know about the show before we wrap up our bit here?
I could talk for another 3 hours. So I promise I won't. Look, it's we try to deliver a really great day out of it's a variety. You'll come and see a little bit of everything. Some things will pique your interest, some things you won't like. I'd really encourage people to come on down and join us. We're still in the growth phase. It's 5 years in, obviously coming at the back end of COVID. So our biggest challenge is continuing to get awareness out there for the show. So please, we'd love to see as many people as we can. If you can't make it, tell your friends, share our stuff on social, have a look at the website. That'll tell you what we're all about, because the key thing to me is just to keep growing this. We're not a big team. We're not, and it's just the support like this from you is really important to us.
And I have to say as well as the cars and the obvious stuff, and as well as the arenas that got things in, the stages that have got various interviews, is that there tends to be music happening in different places. In fact, you've got some pretty big performances there, haven't you?
Yeah, you know what? There is one thing I should say, because I'm really excited about this, and it's nothing to do with wheels, which is unusual for me. So we've got a partnership with Nation Radio. We got the Nation Radio live music stage, and that's set up around the outside. We've got a massive outdoor food court with all the bog standard. It's a very festival feel, so you can then sit down on a bench, take the weight off your feet for an hour, get a bit of sun, and we got a big tent, and we got a stage where we play music from about 11 till about 3:30, 4 o'clock. Primarily cover bands, so some of the best cover bands, so people will know the music. But we have got a couple of upcoming young artists who've been on X Factor winners, and someone was on BBC Two Live Lounge. But my favorite one, and this is at 1 o'clock on Sunday on the live stage, is a band called the Ogre Tones. They are the UK's only, or premier, but I believe only, a Shrek themed cover band. Okay. They all dress up. Look at them on the internet. They're brilliant. They all dress up in Shrek outfits, and all they sing are covers of all of the music from Shrek, and it's great music. So if you're trying to find me at any point over the weekend, the one place you can guarantee I will be is by the music stage at 1 o'clock on a Sunday watching them.
I remember you telling me when we went for a curry, you were really excited about that.
Absolutely. Yeah, my daughter likes them as well. So George is a bit of a Shrek fan. So I obviously I did it for her, not for me.
I was about to say before you said that, don't go blaming it on her, man. It was all you. It was all you. It really was. Before I come to you, Kat, is that Deborah Humphrey, obviously her son Jake, is going to be there. She says, evening all, listening in. We look forward to Jake being there. Nathan Sutton, who you said is going to be there as well with the MGZR. Evening to you, Nathan. Good to hear from you. Plenty of others coming in with comments. Apologies, guys. I know Goose from the Quarry Hardcore, he's like hoping he'd be getting up there, but thinks he's working, so he's going to miss that. But Kat, it's, I know it's been a lot of work from your side to try and get people to come along to this, but it's really exciting to be able to showcase Castle Combe Racing Club at this.
It is, but I have to say, listening to what's involved with the show, I think I might just decide to go as a guest instead.
Yeah,
because I love Shrek. I love Shrek as well. So
you'll be close enough to the stage.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No, that's good. It is difficult. I think it's always very hard when you're expecting people to give up their valuable spare time, especially in the downtime for racing for us when everyone's having a holiday. So if there is anyone else out there that has a second thought about coming and maybe wants to reach out, we can probably get maybe another 2 cars on the stand if we pack them in nicely. I'm sure Andy, once we furnish him with everything that's happening, it's difficult. We know we're very grateful that for those people that are going to come along and help. It's the first time we will have branched out to do something like this as a very small team. So David Campion and I will look forward to kind of 3 or 4 long days together, but you always feel grateful that you've done it afterwards as well, because why wouldn't you want to go and talk about the one thing that you're passionate about, to be honest.
Absolutely. And I think it's a thing that will grow from the racing club's perspective. Anything that you want anybody to know, Kat, from our side, from the racing club side?
What, in terms of going to the show? So I think we've got some paperwork to fill out with Andy. I think we're just waiting for a couple of things from Andy now that we've done this evening. We know where we're going. We know where the location will be. We will send all of that information out to all of our competitors so that anyone coming along knows where to find Castle Combe Racing Club. It's obviously good for us to know that you're there, Chris, because you can kind of be that extra bit of moral support if we need any help. But no, we're really looking forward to it. I think it's it's probably as close to our next race meeting, which is the 25th of August, as I would want it to be, because we'll be really into kind of race day prep at that stage. But it can't do any harm to let as many people know about Castle Combe Racing Club as possible. And like I said, with Jake, who is a very articulate young man, and Justin, who is like one of our biggest fans and supporters and always there for everything we need, and Nathan, who still has a stolen frying pan from the last race meeting. Maybe he could bring that with him as well. And and the others that are going to come along and help and support. So we can't not enjoy being involved. So thank you for the opportunity, Andy.
Thank you for coming along. We're looking forward to having you with us.
No, absolutely.
Our pleasure.
Tim Perry says, thank you, Andy. Nice hearing about the show. On a side note, because obviously you're going to leave at this point as well, Kat, is that Sean Cairn says, lovely meeting you today, Kat. We had so much fun on track. Thanks.
Bless.
Nice.
It was a trust track day. And I think about 2 weeks ago, we had 15 bookings. So we thought, great, 20-minute sessions. Let's just go round and round and round the track, sign on, get your wristband, happy days. And then we pushed hard, the racing club, trying to support the trust where we can, pushed hard, and we ended up with 60 cars today. So, and you know what? I think probably maybe 70-ish% of those people that came to the event were new to Combe. So I managed to get the racing club side into things and handed out a few racing flyers so people could see the customer journey from track to race. And we really enjoyed it. It was a really good vibe. And we had rain and we had sun. And so on behalf of the trust, everyone that did make today, thank you very much. There's no one here to thank you personally, so I'll do that on their behalf.
Right. Well, Andy, thank you so much for joining us, mate. So good to catch up with you. I know we still need to speak yet as well. We'll do that in due course. Best of luck to you and the team with the show, and I look forward to seeing you there, mate. And Kat, thank you for joining us to bring it to life. And they get in contact with you, so you've still got space for a couple of cars. And if anybody...
Absolutely. I'm sure, Andy, as long as we don't go above and beyond our allocated space, safety in numbers. I'd love to have as many people around me as possible. It's 3 whole days. We've got to make sure everyone feels like we've shared the love between. So, but we'll make it work. We always do.
Well, don't forget, we're billing it. You've got the key kind of lunchtime session in the Bridgestone arena. We're billing it the Castle Combe Power Hour. So
Exactly.
you've got enough time to get a few cars there. So yeah, there's always flexibility. We'd like, I'd say to anyone, let's get as many different vehicles as we can, and let's really start shouting about how great motorsport is.
Absolutely. Yeah, can't wait.
Caroline Sutton says that Nathan he took it home to wash it. That's the pan. So there we go. That's where it is. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having us on.
Yeah, really appreciate it, Chris.
Don't go anywhere, because we've got our next guest coming up, which is David Smitheram will be in a second. I shall just say goodbye to these guys, and I'm going to quickly talk about the Summer Action Day, and then we'll bring the patient David Smitheram. But Andy Entwistle, Kat Dalocco, thank you for joining us, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Right, thank you very much to those two guests. I feel scared now, because Catherine Green's getting impatient. She's telling me that she wants to know all about Summer Action Day. There's not much to say about this one, in all honesty, because the good news is it's what you know and love. It's what you've seen. It's this Saturday, 19th of July. Thousands of cars that are going to be on static display all around the circuit, as well as in the paddock. There will be the car clubs from around the country will have their own stands. There's prizes for the best dressed stand, the car of the show. We've got the show and shine as well, that will be in the paddock. I think it's 12 finalists that will be lined up, and you'll be able to see them all there. There will be cars going out on track, so there will be people that will be able to actually take them out there. The good news is, Catherine, there is drift demos. So we've got those back again, and everybody loved those. So I'm not surprised, Catherine, that you love those. They are an absolute crowd pleaser, without question. So the drifting demos will be there. You asked a question about what happens if it rains. And someone said, I think, you get wet. Honestly, that is it. It doesn't change anything. The whole day still happens exactly the same. There might be a little less smoke from the drifters, but it is brilliant still, because you'll agree, Catherine, by the sounds of it, they put on one heck of a show, don't they? Absolutely epic. They really are. So make sure you get there. You've got a trade village area that seems to grow in the variety of what's there. So get yourself along. You can still buy tickets online, and that includes you get the discount for booking in advance. I'm assuming they're going to do the same as what they did last time, that the entrance for spectators is up at the Quarry Corner entrance, and everybody's going to park up there. And that I'm assuming they're doing this where you park and actually you pay as you walk from the car parking bit up towards the spectator bank. So it stops people queuing on the roads a little bit more. If you happen to be showing your car, apologies, I'm obviously not sure whether you'll be doing that part, but follow the instructions that you'll have been given for those that are showing the car. But absolutely loads on show. Don't forget there'll be charity rides as well. If you wanted to jump in the passenger seat of the AutoWorks BMWs, one of the proud partners of the circuit, you can pay your money. The money goes to charity, and you'll be able to go out and be whipped around the circuit. It's absolutely epic the way that you do that, and just have a wonderful, wonderful day. It will be fine. It will be absolutely brilliant. So, Catherine, have a wonderful time. Just to make sure that you've got the information you need for that. Wrong one. I don't have that link, actually. It's castlecombecircuit.co.uk/summer-action-day-2025. But if you go to the Castle Combe website, it will be front and center, because it is the next event for this Saturday. And in all honesty, Catherine, I do apologize that you were waiting to hear all of that, but there isn't much more for me to say, because it is the excitement that you were hoping it to be. It is the static displays, the on-track track action, the drift demos, the trade village, the show and shine. It just so much going on these action days. So make sure you get yourself along. It sounds like you're going to be anyway. Have a wonderful time, and it will be brilliant to hear how you get on. So thanks for your patience, Catherine. Talking of patience, I've got to give this man a medal for his patience. He's going to hit me next time I see him, I have no doubt. But I'm going to bring out the top brass for our next race meeting, which is the Classic Sports Car Club. So let's bring out David Smitheram. David, thank you for your patience. I'm so sorry to keep you waiting, mate. We all ended up in a rush at the beginning, didn't we? So I couldn't tell you to relax for a little while.
That's all right. It's not a problem. I'm always happy to hear other people talking about cars and racing, so that's fine. So.
It's true, and it is a show that I do think Classic Sports Car Club should go along to as well. I think I told you last year, didn't I, that one?
You did.
It was a bit too late from memory.
Yeah, you did. It's funny because it falls in the middle of the racing season, but we should diversify. And also my friends are there from the Corvette Club, so they've been talking about coming along. So
it is really cool, and you know you're in safe hands. If I'm hosting the Motorsport arena, it means you're going to get the right sort of interviews that's going to big you guys up. Classic Sports Car Club. I'm very proud that I get to do quite a bit with you guys. Not as much as I'd like to, because we're pulled pillar to post at the best of times. But I always enjoy catching up with you as people and as a racing club. It's so much fun. But first things first, let's talk about the structure of the club, because there's been some big changes there, hasn't there? Hugo's retired.
He has, yeah. After 17 years, it had to come at some stage, but yeah, he was, in many people's eyes, the Classic Sports Car Club. So he's left an amazing legacy. So yeah, but he's living it up. He's enjoying his retirement already. I think he's currently out on a motorbiking holiday somewhere. So yeah.
Wow. So he's not taking it easy then.
No, I don't think he will. No. And he's, I've teased him for years about him building a race car, because, he did race before he started working for the Classic Sports Car Club. And, it's a busy career. The racing season doesn't ever stop now. And he's been talking about building this mini Marcos for a long time. And he's finally going to have the time to do it. So I hope we'll see him out with us on the grid at some stage.
I do recommend people go and have a look at the Classic Sports Car Club website, because the news story about this, I loved reading, the stories when you sort of announced the bit, but then there was the specific bits. I'll come on to it in a second, the other people that have joined the board. But it was like listening to you or reading you talking about the stories that you guys have got up to in the past. And it's great to hear that you've been running a tight ship that's for the drivers, but you've been enjoying your life along the way. Yeah,
I mean, there's plenty of stories that you can't share, but there's been some funny stories. I mean, God, yeah, you involve people and cars, and there's going to be some antics, isn't there? But it's been good. It's a small office, and yeah, we're working that closely with somebody is it's going to have its challenges at times, but what we produced is something that I'm proud of, and I know Hugo should be proud of what he's done for club racing and for the CSCC along the way. So I'm pleased for him. A lot of people don't get the opportunity to retire at a time of their choosing, and he's been able to do that, and he's young enough to get out there and enjoy life. So good.
Yeah, no, and I did respect that a lot, in the fact that there was obviously one or two things that came along that made him go, do you know what, I've got to go and live a little, and fair play to him, like you say, to have that decision. And of course, that office you mentioned, it's rather close to Castle Combe, isn't it?
It is, in more than one way. So not only is it close, so I'm talking to you from Corsham, but it was actually built, I'm not sure if you're aware, it was built by Frank and Will de Claudio. I
did not know that. How did I not know that?
Yeah. So they built it, and indeed this part of the office, this extension, was added when we increased in size, and we brought on Hannah as an employee. So they came back, I think, in about 2014, and they built this extension for us. So.
Wow, what a small world that is! Yeah. And of course, you nicked our Joe.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. So we got Joe Lefkovich. Yeah. She's here working for us part time, obviously for a long time involved in running Castle Combe Racing Club, really, on the day-to-day side anyway. So yeah, we're very glad to have her.
So in terms of the changes, I mean, I think you were almost at pains to say yours isn't that much of a change. You were a director already. They, and I'm going to be at pains to say this, is that they insisted that you became managing director.
I wouldn't say it was forced on me, but yeah, it was a suggestion, which was a nice gesture to recognise the time I've been here now, and if you like, to take a little bit of pressure off Hannah while management is new to her directorship. So yeah, it's nice to have that title.
And so obviously, as you mentioned there, Hannah Gardin, she's now been appointed as a director. You two, for me, just go hand in hand because, of course, I've seen you at circuits at other events as well, including racing cars together and all of that sort of stuff. So it's like a ready rubbed partnership, really, there, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Along with Tony as well, who's there in the background. So Tony Rushforth's non-exec director now, and he's not someone that's ever really sought the limelight, but he's a steady hand. He's been with the club for longer than Hannah or I. But you're right, going back to Hannah, we can't race. We're racers ourselves. We can't race with the CSCC. Partly, can you imagine the trouble if we had an accident with our members? That would just be a nightmare. But it's mostly we're just too busy. We're just too busy on race days. There is no time. And so we have to go and race elsewhere. I've raced with Castle Combe Racing Club in the GTs before. I've done the Dave Allen Trophy most recently, and we race with other clubs. And so yeah, Hannah and I haven't done it for a couple of years, but we've raced on and off in these sort of 2-driver pit stop format races, which I'd like to say the CSCC kind of pioneered, really.
Yeah, because I'm trying to remember did I see you in last? Was it an RX-8? I'm trying to remember.
S2000, I think.
Yes, sorry, yes,
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. You guys just suddenly pop up, and I'm like, oh my god, it's you guys! And then you come and give me a slap in the commentary box. Normally, quite often at Brands Hatch is the one that rings a bell.
Never a slap, Chris. One, you're too nice, and two, you're bigger than me. So.
Yeah, but you could stand on a chair, you'll be fine. Yeah. Jamie Peters Ennis, he says, fabulous to have David on tonight. The Classic Sports Car Club is a fantastic club with huge variety, superb standards of driving, great atmosphere, and it's a club run by racers for the racers. Roll on Castle Combe in a few weeks. And I have to say, David, that's quite a nice, succinct way of saying it, is that having had the privilege of hosting your awards do one year as well at Chateau Wimpney, how have they shut that place down? That baffles me, to be honest. But it just has that whole feel. It very much is for the racers, and it's not championships, although I think you've got the Jags on these days.
Yeah, we've got a few championships now.
But that's by adoption rather than creation, isn't it, for that?
Correct.
But traditionally, you've been a number of series so that people can race as much or as little as they want, which then turns into every round.
For some, you're right, but yeah, you're right. Not everyone wants. Championships have a different feel, and I've been in both myself, and it is exciting gunning for points. But equally, not everyone wants to do that or can do it, and running series just makes it that little bit more relaxed. Perhaps a bit more friendly, I don't know, and people are able to pick and choose, cherry pick the rounds they want to do. And in the current financial environment, where a few people are finding it tough out there, I think that ability to just choose a handful of rounds, a few rounds they want to do, without worrying about interfering in points or missing out on points. Is useful. But thank you to Jamie for that. And also I noticed Justin Holloway, another occasional CSCC racer, popped up there as well. So thank you both.
He did. In fact, we got another one here. Slimo71 from YouTube says, David Smitheram used to work with my old man, Aaron Delamont, quality bloke.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, know Aaron well. He was at my wedding, and yeah, he was years ago. I worked at Toyota, and he was workshop foreman. So yeah, he's a good guy.
Talking about wedding, and this is more on the other side, because I feel like there's been a divorce because your Corvette you are no longer the owner of.
No, I am.
What did I see?
It's in the States. So I do these crazy road trips.
Yes.
I've driven my Corvette to the Sahara and the Arctic, and I bought it in the States. Well, I shipped it out to the States earlier this year, and I've done a couple of road trips out there, and I'm just waiting for it to come back. It's still in New York somewhere at the moment. So.
Wow. Okay. So I misunderstood that. That's probably because I didn't want to deal with the pain of you being separated temporarily. I think that's what it was. And Lewis Bird says, "Good evening, everybody. I'm looking forward to getting the Mini out in the turbo tin tops when it's built."
Brilliant.
There you go. So that's one of our locals that is hoping to get out with you as well.
Brilliant, brilliant. That's good. That's good to hear, because we've got a good crossover, haven't we? There's quite a few drivers that do Castle Combe Racing Club and then come across to us. So yeah, you'd be most welcome, Lewis.
Don't I recall having conversations with you at either race weekends and at, say, like Autosport show and things like that, that there is always a thinking in a number of these series is that they are open so that, yes, they might be off racing in championships or other series, but they've got a place to come here as well. And so it's like you're deliberately quite open in those series, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. I mean, now we've got the way the club has grown. The club name is a misnomer. It has been for some time. We're not just about classics. We've got modern GTs and turbocharged hot hatches and all sorts of things from 1960s to present day. So yeah, you can pretty much guarantee, as long as it's not a single seater or a sports racer, it'll fit somewhere in one of our series.
And you seem like like an RSPCA for struggling championships or series as well, because you've given homes to ones that were kind of floundering a little bit and kind of go, yeah, but we want to see those cars racing, and you're happy to do that.
Yeah, that's right. We went through a change, as you mentioned earlier. We only ran series that were homegrown. We created them ourselves.
Yeah.
But that changed a couple of years ago, and we were approached by a number of different championships, and we didn't say yes to all of them. But Hugo and I had a good conversation about it together with Richard Wass, the chairman, the treasurer at the time, and John Hammersley, our chairman, and agreed some of them would be a good fit. So what was the Kumo BMWs? We already had at least as many BMWs racing with us as they did. So we adopted them, and indeed we've seen their grids go up. So it's now the Ram Air BMW Championship, and it's going brilliantly. The same for the Jaguar Championship, among others, and the midgets and sprites, especially midgets and sprites. They'll be at Castle Combe.
Yeah. But equally, you know that they don't always. I mean, I think I mentioned a moment ago the RX-8s that was taken on, but that just didn't quite work, did it?
No.
But it still gave someone to race for a little while in them, and that's the beauty of you guys.
Yeah, and the RX-8s were. You're right. It sort of withered away a little bit, but we never had aspirations for it to be a standalone grid. So
No.
I thought the RX-8, for a very affordable price and a really quick build with virtually no modifications, it meant you could, a couple of people could build a race car within probably 3 weekends, go out and race it for 5,000 quid, share the cost of the race entries in a pit stop race. And we did have double figures racing, but they were only ever intended to be a class as part of our new Millennium series. So they did really what we set out to do, and that was get new drivers on the grid in a cheap way, in something that no one else was racing.
I was trying to recall, did you guys not also take on one of the MGZR based ones as well?
Yeah, that's right. That one hasn't worked, and we didn't have a bad year last year, but the simple reality is there are a smaller number of MGs out there racing, and probably too many categories. And we knew that, they approached us. It was a really good fit. They shared a grid with our Jaguar Championship, but this year it hasn't happened. Fortunately for us, the Jags have increased in number, so it hasn't been a problem. So,
and apologies, I know I kind of almost feels like I throw you under the bus with that question.
No, it's okay.
It's because I didn't know the actual answer to that one, and B, it shows that you are flexible as a club. That's a big one that stands out. It always has stood out for me. We're going to go through the timetable in a minute. The legend that is Tony Rushforth jumps. Great chat from you. Oh, thank you, mate. I just love the Rushforth family. They're racers through and through, aren't they? They're just so passionate. Charlotte obviously does a lot with you as well.
Yeah.
I've been involved with Ali on a number of things as well. Sadly, I was there when his fire broke out at Snetterton a few years ago. I was in the commentary box, and that was quite a harrowing day, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But I love that guy. He's such a mad hatter. He's brilliant. Tim Perry, one of our marshals, says, yes, Julian Fisher and Joe Hathaway both won outright victories in the hot hatches this season.
Yeah.
They raced with you guys. I like this from Jamie Simmons. He says, I'm going to have to build something and get my race license. It's the dream.
Yeah.
Do it.
It is.
What's your reaction? What's your advice on that kind of comment, David?
You're the same as yours, Chris. You just got to do it. If you're too rational and you start analysing the costs, because there is a cost to it, of course, then you may not do it. But the thrill is like nothing else. It's an amazing experience. My first ever race was at Castle Combe, part of a 42 car grid. I felt sick. I thought I was going to faint, and I did think, why am I doing it? But the rush once it starts, and the memories, the camaraderie, the battles, there's just so much to it. So yeah, you just got to do it. Probably it depends on budget. So much depends on budget, what kind of car you fancy. But Castle Combe Racing Club, if you're a local, you've got plenty of choice there, haven't you, about what to race. But obviously, if you fancy doing more national circuits, come and join us.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of options. I definitely agree. Go and have a look around. Chris Humphreys, hello, mate. Evening, team. I'm looking forward to marshalling the Classic Sports Car Club event at Combe. I look forward to seeing you there, mate. I look forward to being in the commentary box for the 2 days. I think Marcus Pye and I are alternating. One of us will be in the main and the other in Old Paddock, and then we're going to swap on the other day. In terms of what you've got going, is it the full complement of all of your series?
Not quite, because we are saving two of them. No, three categories for the Autumn Classic with you. So our Special Saloons and Mod Sports, and our Hawthorn Jaguars, the old classic Jags, the Mark 1s, Mark 2s, and our Future Classics, which is our 70s and 80s. They'll be with you at the Autumn Classic.
I love them.
The only other one that's missing is the Morgans, the Morgan Championship. They pretty much run exclusively with us, but they're not at Combe. Everything else is there. I think we've got 15 series and championships with you.
Ironically, we had Louis Ruff on the last episode of Combe TV as well. That's a shame that they're not there. Actually, Jamie Peters Ennis has just reminded me of another one that I was trying to think about it. The Puma Cup, that was another one that you guys adopted and took on, and that has worked quite well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. And much like the RX-8s, the intention was never really to go standalone. But I have to say, the grids have... They started out going back 10 years ago, around a dozen cars. They shared a grid, and they share a grid indeed with our Cordsport Tin Top series. And then their numbers dipped a little bit, but I tell you what, they bounced back. And Cadwell Park, I think this year we had a dozen cars, a dozen Pumas, as part of a shared grid. But they enjoy some amazing racing. And you mentioned her earlier, the coordinator for that one, Charlotte Rushforth.
Yes, of course,
doing a good job. But yeah, Pumas. I mean, you don't see them that much on the road anymore, but they're a great handling little car. So.
Yes, I mean that was one of the ones that was surprising that it didn't work in its own championship when it was that before it came over to you guys. But then again, is there an issue there that cup? Excuse me, I think you've just hit on it. Is it almost become its value has kind of increased somewhat because it's like become an almost iconic car. Mark Werrell's got one, hasn't he? One of our fellow commentators. He's got one.
He has, although his is too fast to race. He's got one of the racing Pumas, so the big body, the wide body ones. But yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of them were probably lost back in the scrappage scheme. Some Rust has claimed a few, but there's still quite a lot around there. But that's the nice thing with these things. They start to, as they get older, they start to become a classic. And I mean, probably if you spoke to a teenager now, a Ford Puma would be a classic in their eyes.
Yeah.
So,
I know, which upsets me. Does it you?
yeah. Yeah.
I go, no, it's not a classic. It's recent, but it's
Yeah.
not.
No.
I'm going to bring this up. Chris Humphrey says, hopefully I can get to the circuit at a good time on Friday to see some testing. Now, the reason why I brought that up, is there testing on Friday? I don't think there is there?
If there is, it's down to the circuit, not us. I don't know, truthfully.
They do Thursdays normally, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Don't
there
know.
is, Chris.
We
So
need to
double
ask
check
that.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
normally testing is on the Thursday rather than the Friday, but still worth you getting down there because, yes, you can go and walk the circuit. Marshall Combe twice, one day at the last corner and one day in the pit. So hopefully you can see racing out the back of the circuit with Classic Sports Car Club, gaining further post-chief experience at a fairly new circuit to me, where you'll love that. Jamie Simmons, who asked about, saying about that he wants to build a car and get his license, he said, can you ask Mr. Smitheram if he remembers my dad's, Aaron Delamont's, Seat Ibiza at Castle Combe? That was a rapid car.
I remember it. Yeah, I remember it. And then I think he came out and because he was doing some mechanicking for one of the Radical teams, and he did a guest drive in the GTs back when the Radicals were part of the GTs.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I remember it.
Love it.
I must mention, going back to Chris Humphreys there and him attending Friday, he's just, we are blessed with so many good volunteers and marshals. And Chris, we never asked him, but he is often there on a Friday when we arrive. He gets there before us, and he'll help us unload the van. He sets up the trophies for us. A good guy.
He is.
We need more of them, but he's great.
He is. I'm very privileged. I get to catch up with him at a number of circuits, especially Brands Hatch, where he is regularly. So this race weekend then, so as we know, action's able to get started at 8:30. Now on the Saturday, that's actually 6 qualifying sessions, but we've got 2 races before lunch. We got the Gold Arts Magnificent Sevens. Oh, and the Verum Builders Open. So they're together now.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Wow. So, because I mean, the Magnificent Sevens, they're fast cars, aren't they?
They are. They are often trading fastest lap times with our liquid moly slicks, which are obviously also running on the program. But yeah, they are rapid. I mean, the Magnificent Sevens is open to whatever engine is in it. If it's a Caterham type car, Lotus 7 type design, a DAX or a Westfield or a Caterham, whatever, it's eligible. And this year we've allowed slicks. There's certain classes which are allowed slicks and wet, so they've actually got a little bit faster again. So.
Oh wow, fair dues! And they're out with the Verum Builders Open, which that's fairly self-explanatory. Is it's open?
Pretty much open to anything. Yeah, open to anything as long as again it's not a sports racer or on slick tires or single seater.
Talking about sports racer, Jamie Simmons says John White's Radical, if I remember rightly.
That sounds right. He's got a good memory.
He does. After that one, the second race before lunch is the Ram Air BMW Championship. So what BMWs are they?
Again, open to most BMWs, but predominantly the weapon of choice has got to be the E46 M3. There are some fast E36s. And just recently, Jazz Sapra, who's another regular at Combe, he's been developing an M4, a modern M4. So it's quick when it's reliable, but of course he's being helping develop that car, I think, for others to follow. But at the moment, I think the E46 is the one to go for.
Okay, fair dues. During the lunch break, it's then the Co-Od Sport, Tin Tops and Puma Cup grid walk, all being well with timing. Obviously, we sometimes lose that if we have delays, and that means that they're racing afterwards. So Puma Cup, we know it is the Ford Puma. The Co-Od Sport Tin Tops, what's that? Yeah,
so naturally aspirated only, front wheel drive, hot hatches and saloons up to 2 litre, multi-class, similar to your hot hatch championship, but no R50 in this one. So yeah, you've got Integras, Civics, 206s, 205s, Fiestas, all that kind of car. Again, well developed, and that's one of our biggest grids. I think we're already approaching about 30 cars on the grid for that.
I love that. Just got a message in from Deborah Humphrey. Jake, obviously 16 years old, is looking forward to running with the tin tops. And of course, the ever-presents, Russ and Mark, are looking forward to running with the new Millennium. See you on the 2nd and 3rd. So it's going to be. Dave Weston says I might have a busy weekend. One of the Clarks.
Yes, yeah. Well, actually, Dave, being a local, is actually going to be our chief for this one. So,
makes sense.
Yeah, glad to have his local knowledge.
Top bloke, top bloke. Got so much time for him.
Mm.
Next up is the Wasp New Millennium and the Fox Transport Turbo tin top. So, New Millennium, what's that?
As it kind of suggests, post-year 2000 cars. So we allow a little bit of aero on there. They're still on treaded tyres, but allowed a little bit of front and rear aero, and you can go a little bit wider on the body, but nothing too crazy.
What sort of examples will we see in that?
I guess you've got things like, again, a selection of hot hatches in there, some turbocharged things, the odd car that, I have to be careful what I say now, but the odd car that races in TCR. You've got Ginetta G50s, 55s, the ever-present BMWs. You know, we've had all sorts, even things like Aerial Atoms and Exige V6s and all sorts.
Okay. And then the turbo tin tops, yeah, that's fairly self-explanatory, isn't it? Yeah. Lackford Engineering, Midget and Sprite. I think I must have missed the fact that you guys have sort of adopted those guys as well. And I guess that was sadly and we can say this, you and I as motor racing fans, is that the sad demise of MG Car Club. That was a huge shame to see that one disappear.
Yeah, I mean, I think the club's going strong, but obviously not without not with the motorsport arm. Yeah. So yeah, they were the perfect fit for us. It's been a very good marriage because we had a lot of midgets and sprite type cars already, and there was quite a crossover. So we've been able to say to their drivers, look, come and race with us, and if you fancy a second race, come and do the Adams and Page Swinging 60 series. So we've got a good crossover there.
And I love the midget and sprite challenge because we get everything from what you'd expect to see through to the obscenely quick and modified ones as well that are just incredible. Liqui Moly slicks. Now obviously the slicks means that those cars are able to run on slicks, but what sort of cars are we going to see in that?
Yeah, so they are, as I mentioned before, they're typically some of our fastest cars, and you've got, again, a real mix, typical of our grids. But I mean, last time out at Snetterton, we had a brilliant scrap at the lead between a Lamborghini and a Ferrari, the latest GTs.
Wow.
And you've got 911 Cup cars. And again, Ginettas were popular.
Dylan Popovich races a lot. He's another crossover, isn't he?
Yeah, he does. And you've got people like, well, they've sold their Porsche now, but the Birds,
yeah.
Nigel Must.
Congratulations to Charlie Bird because he's just got married recently as well.
Yeah.
Charles Hyde Andrews Bird.
Yeah, absolutely. They've swapped to classics now. They race a Lotus Cortina with us.
They do. Yes, I was about to say they are back out with you again, but yeah, in a beautiful Lotus. I've got to be honest and say, have you driven one of those? Because they look so good to drive.
No, I haven't. Yeah, they do. They're just fun to watch, aren't they? They're sideways all the time, and but no, I've not had the pleasure yet. So if anyone wants,
everyone wants to put David in one, then get in touch. But you take Andrew Jordan, and of course his dad Mike Jordan is that. He's, Andrew's an ex-British touring car champ. He was a Red Bull driver for a little while where he did the World Rallycross even and things like that. And yet he was saying to me, they're immaculately prepared. What's their team called? JRT, isn't it?
Yeah, Jordan Racing Team, yeah.
That's it, yeah. And they got at least one immaculately prepared Lotus Cortina. And he said, that's the most fun thing that I drive.
Yeah, I agree. And in fact, the Jordans were racing with us last time out at Thruxton. So we had a grid. Our Midland Classic Restorations Classic K series were at Thruxton Retro, and the Jordans were out with us then. So yeah.
Yeah, they do love it. Incidentally, and I forgot his name now, is that he was out he works for SRO as well. So at the weekend when I was covering British GT, and he was saying, oh yeah, I'm going to be at Castle Combe, we're running our car there, etc., etc. So yeah, there's a lot of people. You boys just proliferate everywhere, don't you?
We try.
By design. Then we've got the Gold Arts Magnificent Sevens and Veer and Builders, Ram-Air BMWs, and then the Turbo Tin Tops. Oh, actually, so you're putting the Fox Transport Turbo Tin Tops versus Coord Sport Tin Tops versus Puma Cup. So actually 3 of them together at the end of the day on the Saturday.
Yeah, we tried this at Cadwell Park earlier in the year, and it was really popular and actually produced some excellent battles. So, I mean, you see this at every Castle Combe race meeting, I guess, in the hot hatches where you've got turbocharged versus not naturally aspirated, and they've each got their strengths, haven't they? Reliability, whether it's a hot day or not, and so it's produced some good battles. And last time out at Cadwell, it was actually a 205 GTI of Sean Ely that won outright that versus race. So we're going to see whether Combe,
well, I think
turbocharged cars.
I think it will mix because, we, as you and I both know, we've got some very fast bits on the circuit, but then you've got a couple of twiddly bits that suddenly bring them in. That's when we see even like the classic minis against some bigger, more powerful cars, is that it brings them back together again.
You're right.
It'll be interesting to see that one. Quick comment before we move to the Sunday. Hi, Chris. So Helen McGee, the boss of the marshals, says, just to say, if anyone wants to marshal the weekend, please sign up via RevUp. Or contact me at helenm@ccracingclub.co.uk. I'm away at the moment, but we'll be sorting out allocations and sign-up details later next week. So get in touch. I know we've got a little bit of time. What is it? 2 weeks on Saturday?
2.5 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, so 2.5 weeks. But get in touch, get sorted. Helen needs to manage and allocate everybody, so please do. So either via RevUp or helenm@ccracingclub.co.uk. Mr. Spiller, evening Dawsey from Krakow. I've been seeing you guys with the vodka shots. I saw was the last photo from the lovely Mrs. Spiller. Hi, Mary. And I'm a bit worried about you two with those shots with a beer chaser I saw, Pete. So go steady, man. You're no spring chicken. But he says we were hoping to get Dave, and not you, Dave, Dave Spiller, out in his Mini for this meeting, but doesn't look like it'll be ready. So that's a shame. So that would be good if those boys can get out in their Mini racing with you guys.
It would, because you've got, local knowledge is so important. And the last thing I'd want to do, we're good friends with Castle Combe Racing Club, is to appear like we're poaching in any way. But it has, what am I trying to say? It's been good when us as a visiting club have sometimes had some of the Castle Combe specialists to compete against, and they really have to up their game. So again, I wouldn't want to take anybody away from doing Castle Combe Racing Club, but if any drivers are listening, they fancy a race with us just at Castle Combe, just get in touch with us, and we'll see what we can do for you.
The beauty we see, don't you see it more and more now, mate, is that the reality is it's not taken away, because, especially as, again, with the majority of stuff isn't championship. So it's like that they can pick and choose, and they go, oh, do you know what? I've always fancied racing at Thruxton. I'm going to give that a go. Yeah. And equally is that from the Castle Combe is that we get championships or series coming here, and they kind of go, do you know what? I'd like to do a few more races here. Or it's their local, but they've just gone national. They go, actually, I could do more of this. And people go and find where they can race. I mean, you mentioned Jazz Sapra. Yeah. Jeepers, that boy races pretty much every weekend somewhere, doesn't he?
He does pretty much, yeah. Him and Brian, yeah.
I think there's more than 2 of them, Yeah. I think that they've kind of, they've created clones of themselves somehow, because I just lose track of how many times I'm commentating on them. It's brilliant, and that's what I love to see. Now, onto the Sunday. There's an interesting one that I've got to work this out with our people, how the heck we're going to do this, because we do have qualifying, but before qualifying, we've actually got a race at 8:30 a.m.
Yeah.
Thanks for that one, Dave.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah. I mean, we're always trying to it's hard to keep everyone happy, isn't it? And I appreciate that you have got some proper hardcore fans that will be on the bank at 8:30 watching that race. But I appreciate for a lot of them, they won't be there that early. But thinking of the drivers, for some of them, 2 days is quite a big commitment, and we don't want them there, early doors Saturday, pardon the pun, and then late on the Sunday. So for the Lackford Engineering Midgets and Sprites, they've been there on the Saturday. We're going to get their last race in early, and then they can go home.
Yeah, because quite often, actually, as soon as you said that, I've suddenly remembered. Like, for example, I think it was 2 years ago, I covered you guys at Thruxton, and it very much was 2 separate days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that's how you try to run it where possible, isn't it?
Usually, you're right. For the drivers and the fans, we typically have a classic day and a modern day if we can.
That's right. I'd forgotten that, actually. Yeah.
This one's a little bit more mixed up. I would say probably the Saturday is more for the modern car fans, the Sunday more for classics, but there is a bit of a mix up on this occasion.
Yeah. Well, we may well find that we have to have the volume on the speakers a little bit quieter for that first race, just to keep our neighbours as happy as possible. But as soon as that one's done, so Lackford Engineering Midget and Sprite, what a great explosive start to the day. Then we get into qualifying, and that all happens before lunch. The grid walk is the BMW 3 Series. Now, this is a special race that you've got on for this weekend, isn't it?
It is. So, yeah, 50th anniversary, would you believe, of the BMW 3 Series? No, 50th year.
I wouldn't believe.
Yeah, I mean, we have plenty racing with us over, now and over the years. So we're trying to attract a real cross-section of cars. Already, we've got a lot of generations. We've got already entered. We've got E30, E36, 46, 92. I think that's as far as we go. So we're missing both ends. We need a modern sort of turbocharged M3 or M4, and we need an older E21. The E21. Yeah. What's the first one? God, my BMW knowledge slips now.
Yeah, no. Or we should be seeing you out in an E30, because I remember commentating on you in the E30 Championship.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that was a while ago.
It was a bit, yeah. Sorry, have I just aged you again there? Sorry.
No, it wasn't that far ago, but yeah, it was a few years back.
That was a championship, mine. That was brilliant fun. That was. But I mean, this is great. So it's the 50th anniversary race, and are you still taking? I should have asked you this. Are you still taking entries for these things, or? Yeah,
the entries won't close until the Wednesday before, so you've got all the way up until July. However, to make life a bit easier on us here in the office, we try and incentivize people to get their entries in sooner. So entries up until Sunday of this week are the price as advertised. After Sunday, they go up 30 quid.
Okay.
So yeah, if they can enter this week, that'd be appreciated.
And that includes that there's actually a discount if they're racing that BMW in something else, isn't there, as well?
It's something we do across the board, but you're right, there's a special discount. So ordinarily, if you race in one particular category, you pay full price. Anything after that is half price. But for the BMW race, trying to keep it all the threes, so it's 300 quid if you're just doing the BMW 3 Series race. If you enter it as a second race in a 3 Series, of course, it's 133 quid, which is a bargain for a 30-minute race. 133 quid.
Were you lot drinking when you were coming up with that? Because that's I love it. It makes sense, but it is hey, that sounds funny, doesn't it? Let's do that.
That's how we roll.
It is. I know. I just love it. It's brilliant. It is really, really good. Incidentally, by the way, just so people know, all drivers must be a member of the Classic Sports Car Club and therefore agree to our closely controlled driving standards. Membership is £49 and will last 12 months. So Correct. If they're not members, they just need to cover that off as well.
You've got it.
Again, keeping the threes, the race is 33 minutes in length with a 90-second pit stop measured from pit in to pit out. Pit window opens at 10 minutes and closes at 23. I quite like. I like what you've done with the eligibility. The points thing for the different classes.
Yeah, we try to think a little bit differently because we know. I mean, God, over 50 years, that is a big difference in car performance and specification. So, if it's a 3 Series over the 50 years, provided it's not a silhouette, it's got to be a proper 3 Series chassis and body. But it doesn't matter even what engine you're running. If it's, go in special saloons and mod sports, we've got an occasional E30 that races with us that's got an E46 engine, and we've even got one with a twin turbo Rover V8 engine. So all of those are eligible. It doesn't matter what the bodywork is like. If you've got, wings, you can be on historic tyres, semi-slicks, slicks. As you say, we've done a kind of a point system on the classes too.
I like it. And so just to make that clear to people is that, so let's actually start from the other end. Class A is 3 points, Class B 4 points, Class C 5 points, Class D 6 or 7. Now, let's give that context is that, right, point A, tyres. 1 point if you're using Motorsport UK list 1A, B or C. 2 points if you're on slicks and wets. So in other words, if you're actually changing your tyres from slicks to wets, presumably. On the engine, 1 point if you've got a 4-cylinder S14 or non-M, a 6-cylinder non-M, asterisk. Crikey, you've got to think this through, haven't you guys? There's
I'd skim over this, Chris. I think you're going to lose the audience.
Am I going down a rabbit hole? Am I?
Yeah.
But okay, let's just stop at that point. Is that go and have a look on the Classic Sports Car Club website. My point being is that I love how much you guys have thought about this. It's a celebratory race, but you've really gone to it, and it's these points that then determine what class you're in. And that's one of the things that I've always seen. You guys sort of level it out. Thank you for rescuing me there, David. I realised as I'd started, but as soon as there's an asterisk, you know that you're in trouble as well. Okay, the next one, Adams and Page swinging 60s. I mean, wow. I mean, you guys have to split that into, have you done it for this one as well? Into two different groups.
There's already 50 entered. I think it's our longest running original series, our biggest grids, and such variety. And I think you mentioned it before about the kind of the David and Goliath battles and about minis. I'm sure you mentioned about minis, but Combe seems to become a mini specialist circuit. So if we go somewhere else, you would expect the Elans, the Mustangs, the Camaros to be up there at the front. And the minis are close, mind. There's some well-developed minis and midgets and sprites. But I looked back at the results of the last few times we've brought the club to Castle Combe, and it's been minis or mini Marcos that have won outright, a number of those. So
okay.
It's interesting.
It is, and it's funny is that me and my dad always talk about this, is that I still from when I was a youngster watching with him at Castle Combe, our overriding memory when I first fell in love with racing and my dad fell in love with watching it with his son, if you will, is the minis cocking a wheel going around the corners at Castle Combe.
Absolutely.
It for me, it's just the overarching memory without question.
Chris,
yes, mate.
Sorry, I'll stop you there. If just to interrupt, just about the variety of cars, if I may, if I can name check some of them, just on the swing 60s, because we get used to, we love watching Goodwood and the Revival, and there is variety there, but of course people choose their car, I assume, on performance. And yes, there are some rapid cars. You'd pick up the fact that a BMW Alpina or a Lotus Cortina, you'd think, that's going to be a fast car. But we've got things like a violet coloured Austin A40 and things like an NSU TTS. And have you ever heard of a Fairthorpe Electron Minor? No, I hadn't before working here either. But you've got crazy things like that, which I love, that people choose that kind of car to come out. Not necessarily a race winner, but weird and wonderful. So sorry, as you were.
No. I thank you, and I appreciate that, because that's what I love about this mix, and it always is. I mean, I have to say, it's blooming hard work for us commentators, because it's such an eclectic mix that is just amazing. The good news is I'm with Marcus Pye, the font of more knowledge than is necessary, and he will know all of those things, which is really, really helpful. He'll bring it to life. Alpha Lexus Law Firm Jaguar Championship. Can I just also point out what's really cool is that I noticed that there's a few new sponsors as well on board this year.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We have done very well keeping hold of sponsors for a good
Yeah.
long time, but inevitably, after 10 years or so, I think, Mintex was a long-running sponsor, for example. They've been a great support, and people just move on, don't they? Try something else. So yeah, Alpha Lexis Law Firm came in this year, a friend of, I believe, at least one of the drivers.
Okay.
So,
Which
yeah.
is quite often the way, isn't it? They're either driving or they know someone that's driving in it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
the
like that.
the Jaguar Championship have actually, does depend on what cars you're into, but they've sort of become crowd favourites, the
Always.
Jags. And that championship years ago was pretty much dominated by XJSs, but the rules have bit by bit allowed some of the more modern Jags in. So if you are a fan of things like an XK8, the more, an X300. I mean, gosh, at Snetterton last month, we had a race winner in a BMW X Type, a 3-litre X Type. Now, it was absolutely hammering it down with rain, and it was well driven, but you would not expect an X Type to be, and it was an estate as well. So,
Of course. Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, that's one to watch. They're really entertaining.
They are. Again, the Jaguars are something, again, my dad and I always remember. XJS is because it was always been his favourite car when I was growing up. That was his want car. But then it was the older Jags.
Like the Mark 1s type.
Yeah, that you watch lollop round the corner and yet still do it quickly. And it just defied all logic and belief that they were there doing that and blooming quickly. And we used to love watching those back in the day. And the fact they're still going is just so good. And that is with the MG Trophy. So are you expecting any of them out?
Not yet, but there is the option there if they want to. I mean, the track time is paid for. So we do have some registrations. We chat to a few of the drivers, but the option is there. If we don't get any, then that's fine. I think we've got at least one of them's transferred over to the tin tops, which is nice. So,
Okay.
I would expect it to be an all Jaguar grid.
Fair enough. James Wall says you'll love the supercharged S-Type RV8, Chris. I'm looking
James
forward.
is a character. He's a real nice guy. He's funny. You get on well with him, Chris.
I don't know whether you're slating either of us there. I'm not sure. But Jamie says the X-Type estate, if you look inside it, it's like a Super Tourer, and I believe like the Mini Clubman, it's the only one racing anywhere in Europe.
I can believe that.
That's pretty cool. Tim Perry says, I absolutely love the Adam and Page swinging 60s. Love Joe Polly and the Mini Marcus.
Yeah, he was a former race winner here.
Ah, okay. Fair dues. Next up, Midland Classic Restorations, and this SRO person works for Midland Classic Restorations as well.
Sure.
Classic K. Now, explain to people what that is, because the title doesn't necessarily make it obvious to some people.
No, so it's Appendix K pre-1966 classics just as they would have raced back in the day. So whereas our Swinging 60s series is on sticky modern Yokohamas, most of them anyway, and they're allowed a certain degree of modification, the Midland Classic Restorations Classic K, they have to conform to FIA specifications, so a lot closer to how you would see them and how they would perform on slidey Dunlop cross plies. So yeah, I'll just have a quick look at the entries in a second. So you've got, again, real variety. You've got Elans and TR4s, Sunbeam Tiger, Plymouth Barracuda, NGAs, Lotus Cortinas, Minis, Ginettas, all sorts of things like that.
I love it. I do love that. So you're an advantage to me because obviously your entry list isn't public yet, is it? So
no, it isn't. No, it'll come out next week.
Yeah, I knew that I was going to be.
I should have given that to you, shouldn't I?
No, because it makes it plausible deniability, David.
Yeah.
Because us commentators say too much, so it's fine. You're able to be in control of the of the release of info. Then, of course, we're back to the Super. New an additional one: Super Pro Modern Classics and the Advantage Motorsport Future Classics. I love this. So, for those that don't know, tell people what those two are.
Yes, so sometimes these race apart, sometimes together. The Super Pro Modern Classics is for cars up to 1999. It's predominantly a 90s only series. Advantage Motorsport Future Classics, which will also be at the Autumn Classic again. That's for 70s and 80s cars.
Okay. So what sort of examples of cars would we see in those?
So if I look at the 90s stuff from the Modern Classics, I'll just run down the entry list. You've got XJSs, Porsche 911 964, Boxster S. They just sneak in because they were
Oh,
you
really?
could just buy one in the late 90s. Yeah, just. Ginetta G20s, the original Lotus Elise, the S1, the early Integras, E36 M3s. Even controversially, TVR Tuscans, they've got their own class.
Why is that controversial?
Well, they should really be. Modern Classics should be for road cars. Now, I shouldn't have mentioned that because it's a slippery slope, but they should be for road cars. Underneath a Tuscan is very closely based on a Griffith,
Yeah.
with different bodywork. The Tuscan was kind of intended to be a road car. I think the factory had the brochures, but they never really were available in showrooms. Forgive me if you're a TVR fan and I've completely got that wrong, but that's what I think anyway. So we've allowed them. They've got grandfather rights. They've always raced with that series since we first set it up, and they have their own class.
And let's be honest, David, I think most people agree with me on this. It was the best championship in this country when it was going.
Yeah, exactly. I remember it as a lad growing up, watching it on grandstand and pre-chicanes at Castle Combe.
Yeah,
it was crazy, wasn't it?
Oh, they were just epic in every way. It was just so much fun. So I love seeing those races. So good to give them a home. And the Future Classics?
Yeah, so the Future Classics, 70s and 80s, so far, it's early days. I'm sure we'll get more entries, but so far we've got a number of MGB GT V8s, which are great, really exciting. Things like Porsche 944s, BMW E30s. We've got Jamie Sturgis, another local. He's bringing out his M535.
What they call that, the Nürburgring taxi or something.
Something like that. That's right. Yeah, something like that. You got Golf Mark IIs, MX5s, the Mark Ones, because of course they were 80s. An early RX7, that sort of thing. So yeah, but it's surprising when you mix 3 decades of cars, how closely they perform. You'll see that all 3 decades actually mixing it with each other. It's not a given that the newer cars will win outright.
No, absolutely. I keep getting upset when I'm hearing things like that, and you're suddenly including MX5s and stuff like that. And I'm like, going, no, I'm not that old. Yeah. Stop it. But I am. Jake Humphrey, evening, mate. Good to hear from you. I'll see you guys down at Combe for the Classic Sports Car Round, hoping to beat my 3rd in class from Silverstone in the Tin Tops. Nice. Very talented young driver, that guy, isn't he? Lovely guy.
We were happy to have him, and his family were lovely as well. They were asking all the right questions on the build-up. I think his mum especially we chatted to. So, yeah, a joy to have them with us, the next generation.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, he's from good stock with Russ Humphrey there as well, isn't he? Let's be fair. He was always going to be a racer. And, of course, Mark Wyatt is the two of them that race together. Another ex-champion. I mean, I love that it's in the traditional yellow and red colours as well that we know and love them in. Then we're to Adam and Page swinging 60s 2. Now, how do you separate class, race 1 and race 2 out?
Yeah, that's something we've tried this year. Adams and Page swinging 60s always used to be split kind of by CC. So we'd have a group 1 and a group 2. But as the decade has rolled on, and I think the numbers of smaller engine cars increased, the number of the bigger engine cars and the Lotus competing decreased. And we ended up with huge reserve lists in one and some space in the other. So what we now do is we accept entries from all of the classes, and then at the time when we publish the entry list, which will go out about the Thursday of the week before on our website, it may well go on the Castle Combe website as well, we then try and split the classes numerically, and we mix them up so they're not always racing together. So at this stage, even I don't know who's going to race with who. So
that's cool, because I didn't know that fact. So that's really cool to know that one. And I agree, yeah, because you'd have one that was like max grid and the other one that was half grid type thing.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
exactly, which isn't good for either. So
No,
it's
no.
worked well. I think it's not inevitably, you can never please all the people all the time, but for the most part, it's worked well, and we haven't had to turn away anyone, which was good.
And of course, you get somewhere there's actually two drivers driving the same car, and one will race in one will race in the other. Is that still the case?
Yeah, it's quite common for people to try and do both now. It just makes sense, the costs of hotels and fuel and so on, actually getting there. You may as well fill your boots when you're at a race meeting and do a couple of races.
Absolutely. And then rounding out the action, the Alpha Lexus Law Firm Jaguar Championship and the MG Trophy.
Yeah,
it's I mean, jeepers, I'm looking at the time as well for finish. That's right to curfew as well, isn't it?
it is close. Yeah, I mean, we've got
Wow.
good experience of running at Castle Combe. For the most part, we managed to get things in, but yeah, it is tight. But we want plenty of action. We've got lots of drivers that want to race at Castle Combe, so you've got to find a way of fitting them all in, haven't you?
Absolutely, and it's great because when was the last time you guys raced? It was
23. It wasn't that long ago. 2023, and then prior to that was COVID. We had a big meeting in the year when we could race again. We had a single day with you, and we had 200 entries in a day, which was packed. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, because that was when we were doing. I don't want to call it a live stream because it wasn't. It was just that where we had the challenge that people couldn't go and watch, and in fact there was limited numbers that could be in the pits with the drivers. So we had family members that are going, well, if I can't watch my son or daughter race, then they're not doing it. That was the biggest one. And so it was like, right, static cameras, but we broadcast live from the circuit for free.
Yeah,
no one paid us for doing that. It was for free. So in all honesty, I'm quite proud of what we created there. But
yeah, it was absolutely better than nothing. And indeed, you started that off at the circuit, really. And so this one is live streamed, this event properly live streamed. But I mean, any of the the spectators will know it doesn't compare with watching it live. So I think the best bet is go and watch it live.
Yes,
the viewing, how good it is from camp or quarry or tower, and then go back afterwards. If you love a particular race, then watch the live stream, and it'll kind of fit bits you miss. So
yeah, or the other one, yeah, filling the bits you miss. That was exactly what I was going to say. Actually, yeah, where you kind of go, well, what happened there? You get to actually watch that, don't you? No, I agree. Well, I've put it there: classicsportscarclub.co.uk/Castle Combe, because there's a lot of information goes up there. We've even had one of the big ones, and I'm not going to put it up on screen, but suffice to say, this is what we'll have in the commentary box, which includes where when people win, they get success penalties applied that doesn't disappear. It's not just for the next race, is it? That sticks for the whole year and gets added. Oh, it changed?
It changed. Yeah, we're listening. We listened to our members, and we did a survey going back a few years ago, and we gave them the opportunity to change certain things, pit stops and penalties, because although we are one club, we're 18 different categories, and what one driver wants in 1960s cars might be different from a tin top or a turbo tin top or whatever. So it does mean it's going to be more work for you, Chris, but you'll be able to explain it to the crowd. We have a variety of some quick as you can pit stops and some timed pit stops, and you've got some winners penalty. Some series don't have any penalties at all.
Yep.
Some have a time applied at the pit stop, which, as you say, will apply the entire season, which tends to slow them up a bit.
Yep.
And others kind of diminish. They increase and diminish depending on their future race successes or lack of. So.
Well, it kind of keeps it level. I mean, when I'm even looking at this list, you kind of go, yeah, it's some of the usual suspects, isn't it? Connor Kay, John Wolfe, Adam Brown, Danny Cassar, Carl Chambers, the boss man, John Hammersley. It just kind of levels it out. And there's many others, by the way. I wasn't being, exhaustive in that list, but I think it's great. and it is really good that you guys do that, because it opens it up to an awful lot more potential for people to actually get winning. Oh, bless her. Helen McGee says, "Be good to see Chris being kept on his toes." Thanks, Helen. I'm being stitched up officially there. Listen, the point being, for everybody, that they can see where we've gone from that, it's going to be an amazing couple of days at Castle Combe on the 2nd and 3rd of August. So in 2.5 weeks' time. Is there anything that I haven't talked about that you'd like mentioned, David?
No, everything really very well. So it's a little bit different from some of the content. I guess you've got that mixture of modern and classic content, and you've got a mixture of sprint races, and then you've got some longer 30 and 40-minute pit stop races. So variety. It's variety's the name.
Yeah, I agree 100%. It's always one of those ones that's probably the busiest weekends, because, like Mark and I, for example, in particular, like to make a lot of notes about the cars and what have you. And it's like, oh my God, I've run out of ink.
Yeah.
It is that brilliant. So, David, thank you so much for your patience at the beginning in hanging fire. I never quite know how the conversations are going to go, and the answer is both halves of the show were absolutely brilliant to get a feel for everything that's going on. We can't wait to see you back at Castle Combe. I feel weird saying that, because of course I work with you elsewhere as well, but I've got my Castle Combe hat on for this show, obviously.
Yeah.
And we're really looking forward to seeing you back at the circuit. Congratulations to the new board, and it's great to see that the club looks and feels like it's in safe hands going forward in what has been successful for a very long time. Great fun to participate in, great fun to watch. Keep up the great work, mate, is all I can really say on that one.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks. And I should say a thank you to Castle Combe Racing Club as well. The team there are very good, because although it is a classic sports car club event, behind the scenes they're still providing the services that we need. And obviously the Castle Combe marshals and a lot of the officials, recovery and so on, are the same, the same locals, and we value their knowledge and their support. So thank you for that.
No, absolutely. David, thank you so much for joining us tonight, mate. I appreciate it. I was delighted when you said yes, and you didn't hesitate, and I appreciate that for coming on. I hope everybody's enjoyed watching. Thank you for the input, and I appreciate, by the way, that there was a lot of comments and that I didn't get to put up on screen, but that was largely because the conversations were so engrossed, which I know you appreciate a little bit more, that is the case. So hopefully you'll get plenty of you at the Summer Action Day on Saturday. We've got 2nd and 3rd of August. We've got what they actually call it, the Castle Combe Modern and Retro Race Meeting.
Yep.
Is the official title for it. And as you heard, is the Motor Show in September. What did I say it was? 15th to 17th of September. Castle Combe Racing Club are present at that event as well, and hopefully I'll see plenty of you there. I'll be hosting the Bridgestone Motorsport Arena that weekend, and if you are there, just give me a shout, because it'll be great to see you all there. But David, thank you, mate. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Chris. I'll see you soon, sir.
I'll see you soon, and from myself as well, have a very good evening. Catch you soon. Cheers all.
Thanks.